So Klimtech sent these peripherals for review and I asked you guys which one we should check first in the poll, and obviously most of you wanted to check the mouse first. So this is the Klim Blaze Pro wireless gaming mouse. As per usual guys, we'll check its physical overview, features, do some latency tests, and more. We'll tell you everything you need to know coming up. Hey, what's up guys, this is Mac and we do a lot of tech related videos like this one. If this is your first time, consider subscribing. With that said, let's begin. So what do we get inside the box? Obviously the mouse itself, a USB-A to USB-C cable around 5 feet, the 2.4 GHz dongle for wireless connection, the mouse charging dock, some documentations, and stickers. So first let's check some physical overview. So the build is all plastic material with white finish and it seems that the overall textures are the same. It is grippy and doesn't have any slightest smooth surface, which is nice. It doesn't have any side rubber grips, which is becoming common with lightweight mice nowadays. It has an ergonomic shape and the mouse is almost ambidextrous if it wasn't for the side buttons over here. The Klim logo is over here, and around the mouse is a nicely distributed RGB strip that gives an awesome aesthetic design. We got a total of 6 fully programmable buttons, the common left and right button, the middle mouse, DPI switch, and the 2 extra side buttons. Before we move on, here are the button sound click tests. Of course, we have this USB-C input for charging and wired connection, and underneath we have this 4 mouse gliders, mouse sensor, dongle compartment for the 2.4 GHz dongle, the RGB toggle button, and the on and off button. We also have this 2 gold-plated connection for charging where this is connected to the charging dock. Sitting in it has a very strong magnet and will immediately charge the mouse. Now let's check out some physical overview of the charging dock. The overall texture and color are the same with the mouse and I do love the consistency. It is slightly slanted with a very unique shape. We also have a female USB-C at the back and in front we have a USB-A. We also have a 2 protruding gold-plated connection for charging obviously, and underneath we have the 2 rubber grips to keep it in place, and it is a bit sticky but doesn't have a permanent sticky residue that lives on the surface. Besides the info of the charging dock, we also have a single toggle button for the RGB. There's actually a bit of weight in it, which is understandable. It's a bit heavier than the mouse to be honest. I guess that's all that there is for its physical overview. Now let's check out some features. So you can use this mouse as wired or wireless with the 2.4 GHz dongle. It has a total of 6 buttons that are fully programmable in its own software, which we will check out in a bit. It is a bit heavy and weighs around 87 grams and has a polling rate of 125 to 1000 Hz with up to 6000 dpi. It also has a battery capacity of 930 mAh 3.7 volts battery that can last for quite some time. It also turns itself off after not being used for 3 minutes to prolong the battery life and needs 3 hours to fully charge the mouse. We don't have much information about its sensor in their website. It only say high precision sensor, and of course we'll be the judge of that after our testings. And lastly, my favorite feature, it has its own charging dock. I guess that's all that there is, but if you want to know more, just check this out and pause the video. Now let's check the software. It is actually simple and straightforward, so this is where you can program all the buttons accordingly, change the polling rate, and see the battery life on this side. The battery life has an increment of 10 and shows 90%, even the battery is still in 98%. In the advanced tab is where we can change the DPI level, logo RGB color, and the effect for the DPI recognition. We can also adjust the brightness, mouse sensitivity, the scrolling speed that can scroll 1 page at a time, and double click speed. In the macro tab is where you can do your macros, and obviously we're not going to dig deep in it since I'm not really into macros, but it's there when you need it. And in the lighting tab is where you can configure the RGB strip. Take note that we have a very limited effects, but hopefully Klimtech will update their software for more effects in the future. I guess that's everything about its software. Now let's do some latency tests.
He's got the bomb. I need help. Could use some help.
Now let's move on to the conclusion, and as per usual we'll talk about the things I like and don't like about the product. But let me begin with the things that I don't like first. Well, it's actually software related since the software doesn't have any profile where you can easily switch the program buttons you have set. So basically you will completely rely on the saving and loading of the profile of your program buttons each time you play a specific game. To be honest, I program more buttons in my mouse than in my keyboard for my games, and for me to load the profile I needed for a specific game every time is a bit annoying. I wish Klim could develop a software where we could sync the program buttons profile into a specific game so that when we launch the specific game, the program buttons profile will automatically load. I might be asking too much, but a lot of gamers are looking for that as well. Another thing is the RGB effects are very limited, but I'm still hopeful that Klim will do an update for all of us. It's a minor thing, but I figure I should mention it for those who cares about the effects. Lastly, the charging dock RGB can only be controlled by using the toggle switch underneath. I was hoping that we could sync the RGB with the mouse using the software, but yeah, we can't. Other than these things, everything else is awesome. And one of those things that I love about the mouse is the latency. Among the wireless mice I've tested so far, this mouse has one of the quickest response times and you're almost like playing in wired mode. Almost, but not quite. I love how you can easily program all the buttons accordingly, and what's even more amazing is that the program buttons are recorded in the mouse itself, meaning you don't need to reprogram them again if you're going to use the mouse with another PC. Though this only applies with one profile, so the last profile you use will stay in the mouse itself. I also like how true the high precision sensor is, also the long battery life, not to mention the auto off when not being used to save battery. I love how you would just let the mouse sit on its charging dock and it glows in all its glory. The customizable RGB is also appreciated, also the different control of the RGB strip and the logo. Even if you turn off the logo RGB, it still has this illumination that seems like the RGB are synced together. I also like that you could also use this as wired for competitive gaming with the universal USB Type-C connection. And lastly, it is very beautiful and complements your overall setup. So if you'll ask me if I'll recommend this, well, that is a resounding yes because of its performance and what you get in the box for its price. Bro, this is a real steal. If you want to grab one of this already, I place a link in the description below for you to check it out. And if you think this is not for you, you should just watch the other wireless mouse review we have on your screen. By the way, we're still going to check out the Klim Shift 60% keyboard soon, so don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss that video. So that's it guys, thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next one.